Guys, please let me drop this info here because you might be watching the video and you will not hear me mention it. The processing time for visitors visa in most African countries and of course Asian countries have changed. IRCC actually updated the site. So now, for example, let me just give you an example. In Cameroon, it used to be around 119 days, but lately it's around 300 days plus. In Nigeria, it used to be lesser than I think 300 days, but now it's around maybe close to 2 years. That is to say more than 365 days. So please make sure you check to know if you are actually going to apply for it or not. And also remember that study permits now take just maximum 6 weeks in Cameroon. I don't know how long it takes in your own home country, but of course you can check it out to see what is happening. Now enjoy the rest of the video so that hello guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel and thank you so much for joining today. Today's video we are going to be talking about some updates according to IRCC, and most of the updates I will talk about, I will focus on the visitors visa to Canada. If you check my YouTube channel, you are going to realize that there is a lot I have said about visitors visa to Canada. And this is a visa that allows you to go into Canada as a visitor. Now, remember you are going as a visitor. As a visitor in a foreign country, you are not supposed to work. Though I do not know how it functions in other places, but in Canada, you are not supposed to work. But the government of Canada announced some months back, and this information is equally on IRCC, that if you travel or enter into Canada with a visitor's visa, you have the chance, you stand a chance, you have the possibility, you can change it to a working permit. You cannot change it to a residence permit. For those who have been asking me if you can change a visitor's visa to a student permit, it's possible. And I will be making another video in the days to come. So please stay tuned and watch this video to the end. Now, let's talk about the process. I will talk about some documents, then we will talk about the application, then I will talk about some things that you need to know in case you finally enter into Canada, if you are granted the visa and you enter into Canada. First, let's start. The visitor's visa is a visa that permits you to go into Canada via a conference, maybe via invitation, maybe through touristic visits or purposes. All right, these are the options. Now, when you go into Canada, there are things you need to do. But before we talk about the things, let's talk about the documents, because a lot of people have been asking me about this. I don't know if you have not seen my video about the documents you need to apply for a visitor's visa. If you haven't watched that video, again, please, I will talk about these things and I will add some more documents. The very first document you need is your international passport. It is very important to have a passport with a longer duration, because when the embassy is about to give you this visa, they are going to give you according to your passport duration. Let's assume you have a passport of 8 years and another person for 5 years. You are going to get a visitor's visa, your visitor's visa for 10 years with multiple entries. Then the person for 5 years will get for 5 years with multiple entries. If you have just 1 year to expiring date of your passport, you are equally going to get it for 1 year. Now, multiple entry means that when you visit Canada, you can only, remember with the visitor's visa, you can only live in Canada, stay in Canada for 6 months maximum. After 6 months, you have to exit Canada, right? Now, then you can go again. That is the meaning of multiple entries. Now, the documents you need include your passport, point number 1. Another thing you need to know is to know the purpose in which you are going into Canada as a visitor. Are you invited? Where is the invitation letter? Are you going for a conference, a 3 days, a 5 days, a 7 days conference? Where is the conference letter? Are you going for touristic purposes? Of course, you do not need any document to show that you are going for tourists, except you are going for you are going to write what is called a letter of explanation to explain now where you are going to be visiting as a tourist, what this visit is going to do to you, the place you are going to be staying as the tourist, and please make sure you stay closer to the tourist destination or to the area in which you are going to be visiting. It is very, very important. Okay. Now, remember, this letter of explanation is not just for those that are going for tourist purposes. It's also for those going for conference, because you need to explain, and of course explain your ties, explain why and where you are going to be staying, explain how many days you are going to stay, and of course your flight ticket, which is the next document I want to talk about, is going to be a two-way flight, aller and retour. In French we call it aller and retour. So you need to put this into consideration, all right, before you do anything when it comes to visitors visa. Now, remember, you equally need what we call hotel booking. With that, you can do it from booking.com. It is very easy to go about that, okay? Now, these are the documents. A part of these documents, you are going to have the family form that you are going to get from IRCC when you are filling the visa application form. But remember, before you start filling this, you have to answer a couple of questions. And these questions are going to determine your eligibility to apply for the visitor's visa. All right. Then there is also another form, I think the visa form. And this form is a secured document. You cannot download it. And your device must have an Adobe Outcraft or something. I think it should be Adobe Reader in order for you to fill this form. Now, one thing you need to understand is that there are other documents, but a part of these ones, let me now go into the most important documents. First, travel history. A lot of people don't know about this, but travel history is very important when you want to immigrate to Canada as a visitor. Remember, I said you can convert this visa into a working permit. I'm still going to come to that. Let me give you the requirements that you need for now. Now, this is the travel history. It means a lot when you are applying for the visitor's visa. Remember, you are visiting. You need to tell the embassy that you have traveled before. Travel history does not necessarily mean that if you don't have it, you cannot get the visitor's visa. No. But travel history plays a very vital role when you are applying for the visitor's visa, especially when you haven't have overstayed. All right. Maybe you have traveled to neighboring places. It guarantees you a lot. Now, if you are applying for the visitor's visa and you have travel history and you are in another country, make sure you are able to document these two things. Very important. You are legal in that country, you have a residence permit, and of course you are able to demonstrate family ties or ties back home. Very important. Now, if you have travel history, then you can take photos or scan copies of the previous visas or maybe residence permits and attach to your visa application. It is very important, guys. Very, very important. This is one of the documents. And maybe if you were in a particular country, maybe for education purposes, why not show them your residence permit and also show them a copy of your certificate. If you have your IELTS certificate, academic or general, just put it there. Remember, Canada is an English speaking and French speaking some sections, but when you prove to them that you have knowledge of the internationally recognized exam, you also get some points. That is what I think. Now, we have moved from this section. Let's talk now about if you have a document to prove that you have a business, all right, or maybe you are paying taxes. Attach that as well. Aside that, you need a 4-month bank statement. And if you are moving to Canada as a visitor, try to tell the embassy or visa officials or consular officer or whosoever is assessing your application that you have a bank account. It's very, very important. Okay, it's very, very important. You need to show pay slips if you work. If you're a worker, show your pay slips, show your employment offer. All right, if you have attestation, show it. If you have a bank account, of course you need it, show it. Attestation of bank account, show it. Pay slips on how you are getting your money or any other source that you are getting money from. Maybe your business, you have a business but it's not registered, right? Also add the document there to explain to the officials how you are getting money, because remember, they are going to check your bank account. Most of the time, it is not even the bank statement. It is not the money you have in your bank statement, but the way you document yourself. Because the visitor's visa, they want it to be in such a way that when you return from your trip, you will be able to have some money into your bank account. It is very important. Okay, somebody was asking me, Milton, I don't have any place to stay. You do not need any place to stay, but make sure you get a hotel booking from booking.com. And of course, when you move to Canada, you rent a hotel. But before you move, you must have a strategy. You must have built a strategy or some connections. so that, because it's not going to be easy, all right? It's a visa that you can convert it to a work permit or a working visa, but there are clauses to it which I'm going to be explaining to you now. I believe we'd finished with all the documentation. If you are married, of course, add your marital pictures and photos. If not, you are in a common law partner, or you are in a common law relationship, equally prove that. You are going to read more about that and you will see the documents that you need, all right? Pictures, very important. Now, let's talk about how to convert this visa. For you to convert this visa, please, guys, listen to me attentively. For you to convert this visa, this visitor's visa in Canada, you need to get a job offer. The point number one, a job offer, and this job offer must be from a recognized company. There are companies, not all companies are recognized by the state or the labor market in Canada. So you need to get a job offer from a recognized company. Another thing this offer needs to provide is, this offer that you are getting needs to tell the Canadian government that they have advertised this job on job sites like Job Bank, and they didn't get any Canadian citizen or a permanent resident who can take this job. That is why they are offering you the job. And aside this, the company that is the employer that is giving you the job offer needs to tell the Canadian government all of this, all right? They need to explain all of that. And again, they need to apply for what is called LMIA. LMIA is the Labor Market Impact Assessment. Now, this Labor Market Impact Assessment is actually assessing you, all right? And this document is going to prove that they advertised the job. There was nobody in Canada or a permanent resident to take that job. That is why they are giving you the job. And of course, remember, though you are going as a visitor, when you are applying for jobs, you do not apply for jobs in Canada when you don't have legal qualifications. All right, this is very important. I've said it several times. And they will look into your educational credentials. They will look at your education, how educated you are, how what you have been doing, your job experience. All right, they are going to take this into consideration before. Remember, when your employer gets the LMIA from the necessary authorities, they will now bring the LMIA to you, and you will now use the LMIA to apply for a work permit. This is how you go about the application for the visitor's visa, guys. You need to pay attention to this. It is not as easy as people think, but of course, I always tell people that with me, I have confidence in myself. If I get something like this, I will never lack a job. All right, there are certain things that you need to be confident about. Those of you who are saying that I have a visitor visa, I'm in Africa, what are you doing in Africa? Use the visa, you move in there and you chase your dreams, guys. Come on. So this is what you need to know about the visitor's visa until you have the LMIA before it will be changed to you. Except that maybe the employer job is not a job specific LMIA, but I would say that with the visitor's visa, to avoid issues in Canada, the job must give you an LMIA to apply for a work permit. This is how it works. Then after that, you can now start bringing in your family. Now, this is to go to those that have been asking if what are their chances of traveling with family. If you leave your family behind, your chances of getting the visa is higher, because you will be able to convince the visa officer that your family is behind. And of course, if you can prove that your family is actually behind, then I think this is an absolute cracking you can get, or an absolute way you can go about it. All right, it's very, very important. Now, with a visitor visa, you can also go to school. All right, you can convert to a work permit. But remember, the work permit you are going to be converting the visitor's visa to, you still need to follow the same procedure as if you were in your home country, providing all the legal documents. All right, and of course, first you have to start from applying for a short course, a course that is less than 3 months, not more than 3 months, a short course. Then when you do the short course, now you now apply for a college or a postgraduate program or a diploma program or a university. Then when accepted, you now start the visa, your study permit application within Canada. It's possible, but most of the time will cut you. All right, time will catch you, and maybe before you know, but if the time catches you and your stuff is already on IRCC or in the system, then you are not to be blamed. All right, you cannot be blamed for that. But again, remember, this is not a 50-50 something, and short courses are usually expensive, so put budget into consideration. Those of you that will be applying from Dubai, a lot of people are applying from let me say other countries, Let's assume that you are in Dubai, you are applying from Dubai, and you are trying to tell the officials that you are applying from Cameroon. That is to say, you come to Cameroon, you do your fingerprints because you don't want them to know that you are in Dubai. This is something you need to pay attention to. All your documentation now will not correlate. This is fact, guys. And again, remember, most of the time when you put in your details, they would have to check. What if the immigration check and realize that you are in Dubai but not in Cameroon, but your fingerprint shows that you did it in Cameroon? So there are things that are associated with this. You need to always put things into consideration and check very well to know which one you are actually going in for. All right, so these are some of the things I wanted to explain to you. Now you go to Canada and you look for a job, but remember that in Canada you have more opportunities than in Africa. Of course, people are getting jobs from Job Bank. You can also start checking from Job Bank. And when you are applying for a job in Canada with a visitor, make sure you explain to the employer that as it stands right now, you already have a visitor's visa. That is why you are applying for this job. All right, you explain to them. There are always emails you can send. Why not? You can even send emails to different companies, all right, telling them that you are in Canada, you are on a visitor's visa, you have this working experience, you've worked with this industry, and you are looking for a job that will convert your visa to, that will give you convert your visa from a visit visa to a working permit with LMIA. Why not? If they find interest in you, they are going to employ you. All right, so these are some of the things. You have to be smart in everything you are doing so that at the end of the day you stand out of the crowd. Remember, only smart people will stand out of the crowd. I hope you get my points ready. Maybe if I have forgotten something, there are a lot of videos, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 on this channel, talking about visitors visas and everything you need to know, the things you need to do when you arrive Canada. I even said that when you arrive Canada, carry your files. All right, carry your files and go to the company, apply for the job online. Then you look for the location, enter an Uber or maybe a taxi. Why not? You have to spend money if you must get your future on stand. Go to the locations, tell them, I saw this job, I've applied for this job, and I'm willing to take the job. Please, can you do something because I'm on a visitor's visa? If they see that you are serious like this, why not? They will give you the job before you know you are working. It's not a big deal to them. They don't lack the money. The problem is the stress that they are going to go through getting LMIA for you and proving all of that and things like that. All right, I hope you understand. Till we meet again in another video.